Welcome to GS Core, and in our one day one answer program, we'll be discussing one more UPSC question. And today's question is, what are the causes of persistent high food inflation in India? And we have to comment on the effectiveness of the monetary policy of the RBI to control this type of inflation. And before we start this topic, let us first understand what is inflation and its various types and how we can control the inflation. And after that, when we have understood completely the inflation, then we will be switching to our this question and we will be discussing about what is food inflation, why there is food inflation, how we can control the food inflation, and which are the organizations that can help us in controlling the food inflation. So let us begin with our topic, that is inflation. Inflation, महंगाई. So before we start with the inflation, let me give you one example. Suppose you had around 100 rupees in 1947. Do you know what will be the value of that 100 rupees in 2024? You will be surprised that its value has been decreased to 1 rupee and 20 paisa. The same 100 rupees that you had in 1947, in today's time its value is 1 rupee 20 paisa. If the average rate of inflation since independence has been increasing from 6 to 7%, and till now it has been increased to 8200 times. So if you had rupees 100 in 1947 and you have purchased this pen for 100 rupees in 1947, for the same pen in today's time in 2024 you have to roughly spend around 8327 rupees. This is the magic of inflation. So there are different types of inflation. First is your creeping inflation, that is 1 to 5% increase in the price of goods and services. One to 5% increase in the price of goods and services. Usually it is found in the developed nations. Little bit increases there. Suppose this pen used to cost around 100 rupees. Due to inflation, the price has increased to 100 to 105 rupees. It is a good type of inflation because there is profit. Suppose if the profit is 5 rupees and if I made 100 crore pens, my profit will be roughly around 100 crore into 5, that is 500 crore rupees. I am the producer, I am able to get too much of profit. So this type of inflation is good inflation because there is increase in the profit of the producer. So he will be investing. So there will be increase in the investment because he will be setting up more number of industries. Then there will be increase in the production, increase in the number of products, and if I am doing the investment to increase my production part, there will be increase in the employment also. So it is a healthy kind of inflation. Then next type is your trotting inflation, that is 5 to 10%, usually seen in developing nation. Example, India and China. So again there is inflation, and earlier your product used to cost around 100 rupees. Now it might cost from 105 to 110 rupees. Developing nation like India and China, throttling inflation. Then the next type of inflation is galloping inflation. Here the inflation rises into the triple digit, we can say 1000 times or more type of inflation. It is also called as runaway inflation or hopping inflation. Now the inflation is jumping into bigger digit. and this is a kind of a dangerous type of situation, and it can hurt the economy also. Example can be, recent example you can take is Sri Lanka. Example can be Venezuela also, and also Argentina during 1970s. This type of situation was seen. And if it is not controlled, it will lead to another dangerous situation, that is hyperinflation. In hyperinflation, we see the inflation is out of control. It is 1 lakh times, 10 lakh times inflation is seen. And the only thing that you can do is that you have to replace your currency, because the inflation is out of control. Like Iran has did, it has changed its currency from real to tomar. 10,000 real is equal to 1 tomar. They have to replace the currency because the inflation is too high. Then there are some other types also, such as deflation. It is usually the opposite of inflation. There is decrease in the prices of goods and services. So earlier your pen used to cost around 100 rupees. Now it will cost around 90 rupees. There is decrease in the prices of goods and services. So it is just the opposite of inflation. And due to decrease in the prices, there will be decrease in the profit of the producer. He will be either in loss or there will be lesser profit. So there will be lesser of the investment part, lesser of the production will be there, less number of products will be produced, and there will be lesser employment, we can say, or there will be job loss at this stage. So this is deflation. Example can be, we can write is the Great Depression of 1929. Japan during 1990s and 2000, example can be taken. They were in the era of deflation. Next is your disinflation. In this part, inflation is there, but it is decreasing. Suppose there were 10% inflation in the 2010. In 2020, the inflation has decreased to 10 to 5%. And you will be saying that, sir, it is the deflation. No, it is not the deflation, it is disinflation. Inflation is still there. From 0 to 5%, there is still 5% inflation is there. So a kind of disinformation you are getting. Example can be UK example we can take during 2011 to 2015. There was decrease in the demand and supply. Also there was disruption in the foreign exchange rate. And due to this part, we see the inflation rate decreased from 5% to 0%. Then next is your stagflation. Stagflation, in this part, we can say there is inflation is there is unemployment is also there, along with there is low growth. So it is again combination of multiple factors, we can say. Example, the global recession in 2008. There was less of a growth, inflation is there, and in this inflation we have just understood one part, that with inflation there is employment, but in this case stagflation, there is unemployment. So now let us see some factors that can affect the inflation from demand side and from supply side. If there is high GDP, GDP is increasing, it will give profit to the companies. So companies will be transferring that extra profit to their employees. So it means that their employees will be getting more money. More money leads to more demand. So first factor that can lead to demand side inflation is your high GDP. Second factor is your high export. If the exports are increasing, it means I am sending a good and in turn I will be getting money. So more money is entering my market, more money will lead to more demand. Second, high exports. Third point will be high government expenditure. Suppose the government is doing expenditure to generate the growth and to generate the employment in India. So government is doing expenditure on the schemes such as Manrega. And we have seen that when the government was giving employment under Manrega, people were getting money. And when people were getting money, they were doing spending on their basic products such as the milk and the egg, food and the other clothing part. So the prices of food items of some products got increased such as milk and egg. So government expenditure, high government expenditure such as Manrega. Then due to less taxation, people will have more money. Earlier people were paying 30% tax, now the tax is increased to decreased to your 20%. So now people are able to save a lot amount of money. So that money they will be used for, they'll be using it for shopping purposes. So more demand, they will be purchasing more products. So due to increase in demand, there will be increase in the prices of goods. So less taxation. Example can be GST rates decreased from 18% to 12%. Next, black money. If anyone is holding any product, naturally there will be shortage of that product in the market. And due to that shortage, we see there will be increase in the demands of that good. Example was that we just now we have understood was salt. That there was a fake news and people started hoarding the salt and the price of salt increased from 10 rupees to 100 rupees. That is one example that we can take. Then next part is deficit financing. In this part, government is saying to the RBI that we require money and you must print the new notes. So printing of new notes, again those notes will move into the market. So again it will lead to more money in the market and it will lead to increase in the demand, deficit financing. Then next part, rise in wages. So if people were earning 15,000 rupees earlier, now their wages have increased to 25,000 rupees. So due to increase in the wages part, now they have more spending power. So they can purchase lot number of products. So there will be definitely shortage of those products in the market and it will lead to increase in the prices of those goods in the market. Then finally, excess liquidity. If there is more money in the market, it will lead to more inflation. Then if we talk about the supply side problem, it can be due to poor infrastructure. Due to poor infrastructure, lesser production capability, we are not able to meet the demand side. So definitely the prices of those products will increase because more number of people are demanding those products. Suppose earlier in a equal situation we can say there were 100 people demanding for this pen and the supply was also 100 pen. Now due to lesser supply, demand is the same, that is 100. Supply has decreased to roughly around 80. 80 pens we are able to supply and 100 people are asking. Definitely the price of this pen will increase. Then next part, due to global supply shock such as COVID, we see there is increase in the prices of goods. Due to COVID, lot number of factories got shut down. So that was a big problem, and also the raw material was not available in the market. And also the countries that were supplying the raw material, they were not able to supply those raw material on time. So there was increase in the prices of goods. Next, we can write shortage of raw material or increase in the prices of raw material will lead to increase in the prices of goods. Then increase in the salary of worker. So earlier the worker was getting 15,000 rupees, now his salary has been increased to 20,000 rupees. The producer might be thinking that I am giving lot number of salary, I have increased the salaries, so my profit has decreased. To be in the profit, he will increase the price of this pen from 100 rupees to 120 rupees, because now he is giving extra salary to his employees. So if the salaries will be increasing, definitely the price of the product will increase. So moral of the story is you should ask lesser salary from your employer. Then poor agriculture. Poor agriculture supply due to lot number of reasons can be there. There should be there might be a pest attack, or the monsoon was not good, we can say. There were flood problems or any other problems that led to decrease in the agriculture supply. So it will lead to increase in the prices of agriculture products. Then due to poor administration, we see there is increase in the prices of goods, such as government giving MSP. If government is giving minimum support price for a product such as rice or wheat, the farmers will be growing that product because they see that it is quite secure in nature. So they will not grow any other crop and there will be inflation in those crops. So that can be a big problem. Then finally, the last part can be increase in the taxes. Increase in the taxes such as GST from 5% to 10% can also lead to increase in the price of goods and services. Then next part, the reasons for demand side and the reasons for supply side. So in this part, if the government is targeting inflation and they have made a monetary policy committee that constitute 3 members from the government and 3 members from the RBI, and they have taken a target of inflation for 4%. They have learnt it from Japan with a band of plus minus 2, means the inflation should be within the range of 2 to 4%. And if they are targeting that inflation, there will be increase in the prices of goods. If inflation is low, so they will be relaxing their monetary policy. So they will be infusing more amount of money into the market. There will be increase in the prices of goods. So we can say due to monetary policy committee that is targeting the inflation. Next can be increase in consumption of people. We have seen in 2021 there was 56% consumption was there. Now it has increased to 59%. Then reduction in corporate tax. Government has reduced the corporate tax and it is now roughly around 22%. With surcharge and cess, it becomes 25%. So reduction in corporate tax from, and now it has been 22%. Earlier it was quite high, more than 30%. There is also increase in the investment part, and investment part constitute roughly around 36% of our GDP. So more investment means more money into the market, So that will lead to increase in the prices of goods and services. Then also government has done lot of effort to improve the quality of exports. So high export demand leads to more money into our domestic market. So again it will lead to demand side increase in the prices of goods. Then if we talk about the reasons for supply side increase in the prices of goods, first will be the food. That is, poor monsoon will lead to increase in the prices of goods, as we have seen in the case of tomatoes, the price increase from 30 to 300 rupees. Then there is Russia-Ukraine war. And it led to increase in the prices of fertilizers. Because due to war, there is a lesser supply of fertilizers, so your agriculture productivity will be less. Then there is supply side disruption due to COVID. Supply side disruption was there. There was lockdown also, so lesser supply of adequate equipments was there. So that was again a big problem. Then due to COVID, we see lot number of MSMEs, micro, small and medium enterprise, got shut down. Shut down in COVID. So again there was shortage of equipments, we can say. Then there was increase in the price of shipping container. Shipping container. So most of the trade is happening via the seaways, and if the shipping container price is increasing, definitely there will be increase in the price of goods. Then there was lockdown in China that led to increase in the prices of semiconductors and APIs, active pharmaceutical ingredients, and it also increased the prices of the medicinal products and your automobile vehicles. Then high logistic cost. Will again lead to increase in the prices. So food inflation means subsistence increase in the prices of foods, goods and services in the food category over a period of time, and higher cost to the consumer also. Consumer is facing higher cost of food grains, vegetables, fruits, dairy, meat products. And for this part we see, if we talk about why there is food inflation, lot number of points we can give, such as supply side problem is there, imbalance is there due to poor harvest or poor monsoon or rising demand of a certain good, we can say, that can be there. Supply side. Why there is food inflation? Supply demand imbalance can be there. Then due to erratic we can say weather, can we say, or there is too much of rainfall is there, floods are there, and drought is there. So due to this type of climate change, we see lot number of problems are seen in the agriculture products, agriculture market. Then global price volatility is there due to supply chain disruption or increase in the fuel prices. We see there is problem in the food category. Then rising import cost also. If the input material or the raw material, their prices are increasing, the products that we are going to manufacture, their prices will also increase. Then the government policies also, it also lead to food inflation. If they are going to increase the MSP of any category or any food product, definitely the farmers will move toward that product, because they are secure that government will be they will be able to get the right prices for their product, so they will not be growing any other product. So that will also be a big problem. So if we have to control the food inflation, we should be improving our agriculture productivity by use of new technology, by use of new method, and we have to improve the seed quality, the irrigation technique method, and the technology part. Then there should be buffer stock management also. If there is suddenly a decrease in the supply of tomatoes, we should have some buffer so that we can we can say we can increase the production in the market using our buffer. So we can say next point, that is supply chain efficiency. If we talk about in terms of the transportation part, we should not depend on the road infrastructure. There should be railways should be used, shipping part should be there, use of the rivers should be there, and plane infrastructure should be also used. Airport should also be used. Then there should be market reforms in terms of the improving our agriculture markets, taking it to the online part, and also giving opportunity to the new e-commerce companies also, so that they can improve the logistic network also. In terms of our monetary policy, we can use our monetary policy to reduce the inflation. So if I talk about, is there only one organization that can control this food inflation? No, there are multiple organizations that can play their parts. That one we have discussed is RBI and the government. Like RBI can use and the government can use the monetary policy to reduce the inflation. There are other organizations such as Ministry of Agriculture and Farmer Welfare. They can develop the policies in such a way that can reduce the prices of food products. Like they might give subsidies to improve their technology. They can develop the farmer friendly strategies also. FCI is there, Food Corporation of India, that can maintain a buffer. So if there is a shortage of any product, they can supply from their buffer stock. Then there is Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution, that can intervene if there is too much of hoarding of any product, or if there is a consumer exploitation. So that organization can also work. So if we move to our question, we can write few points such as supply chain disruption will lead to high food inflation. Then there is rising input cost. Cost of the raw material such as fertilizers, seeds, fuel can be there, so that will lead to increase in the production cost. Then demand supply mismatch can be there. In this part you can write about the weaknesses of the agriculture sector, that due to outdated farming techniques that farmers are using right now, it will lead to lesser supply in the market. So that can be a big problem, low productivity. Then global price volatility. In this part you can write about if there is too much supply in the global market, again it will lead to decrease in the prices of that good, or if there is too much demand of that product in the market, it will lead to increase in the prices of that product. And also other factors such as crude oil can impact your domestic we can say domestic food inflation part. Then there is inefficiencies in the market distribution. That due to too many middlemen, the prices of goods usually increase. Inefficiency in the agriculture marketing, and also direct to farm linkages is also a weak point of our agriculture. So that is leading to increase of the prices of goods. If we talk about the effectiveness of the RBI's monetary policy, yes, RBI monetary policy is helping to reduce the inflation, but our agriculture is being driven by the supply side problem, not the demand side problem. So RBI is controlling inflation on the demand side, and we have problem on the supply side. So not that much effective control will be there. And the RBI also increase the interest rate in 2022-23 to reduce the inflation, but again the things have to be improved on the supply side. So this is how you have to write this answer. Thank you everyone.